Okay, beta. So let's start this chapter. This chapter is your database and file concepts. And into this chapter, I'm going to discuss with you regarding different data types and assigning fields to data types, that what are field sizes, what is a database, what are file concepts. I'm going to discuss with you that regarding the relationships like one to one, one to many, what are these, what is our database, how can we create and use relationships that may are necessary in making a database, how can we represent entity relation diagrams, and what is the difference between a flat file and a relational database. So first of all, let's discuss the title itself, that what is a database. So as you can see here, that a database is a combination of two words that makes it like data and base. Data can usually link to any type of data. For example, that data can be a record, that data can be an image, that data can be a view file or any sort of data as long as it is useful to you. And a base means a place where I'm collecting all different types of data at one place. So a database is usually to be known as a collection of data items of same data types at one place. That means your data can be accessed, but it's in a place where you are keeping collectively all of your data. If I summarize this, a database is basically a structured method for storing data into sets or tables. Like, for example, if I have a table for my students in a spreadsheet, that would require fields such as student name, student age, student contact number, student's father name, things like this. That means that all of this data is in a table form. And this is a method of storing my data into a set of tables so that they are easily accessible to me, or I can interpret or manipulate that data. So the basic understanding for the term database is a structured method of storing data, or a collection of data that has to be stored at one place. This is to be known as your database. Now, within a database, I have different tables. What are tables? A table is a collection of similar data items such as people, place, objectives, or events. A table is a collection of related data items organized in rows and columns. For example, I gave you the example of the student one, right? Student can have a student name, a student name, a student contact. So this is an example of a table, because a table might contain different fields for that specific example. If I'm giving you an example of a student, so I can have a lots of examples. Similarly, if I give you another table, that table might have people, place, or objects. But one important thing is that why I am storing all of the data into a table, or why I'm storing all of the data into a database, so that I can manipulate that data. Manipulate means I can filter them, I can place a query on them, I can search on that data, I can make that data into a desired way as I need. Databases are mostly important in your inventory tracking or payroll management, and they can be used as a source file as well. So you should first be understanding that what is a database? A database is a collection of items at one place. Every database is built on a number of tables, and what a number of table has, a number of table has rows and columns. Now, why do you think that databases are necessary, or how they are used?
Mm, they are you. Uh, they're necessary because you if you use a database, you won't have to look everywhere for some some specific type of data.
Yes, good.
Mm.
Or I can either say that our database is a structured collection of data that allow people to extract information, filter out
Yes.
information in a way they need it. A database can be such as a text, numbers, or pictures, or anything that is stored in your data. The point is that why is our database useful? They are useful because if any change or addition is made to it, it has to be done once only. That makes the database consistent. That doesn't mean that I need to open up every file and I need to update them. The changes and the additions into the database are consistent. The same data can be used by more than one person. They can be used by everyone, and data is stored in relational database. Relational database means that every field of the data is connected with each other. Like a student's name is connected with its father name. I cannot change it, right? That means that it also reduces my data redundancy or data duplication as well. I can also say that why databases are useful. So databases are certainly useful because they can be used to store the patients in a hospital, the peoples at a school as well. They can store all of the important information. To store information about things, they can store it as well. I can so that basically just refers to that if I want to store a large amount of data. A database is a collection of structured method items of storing data, and they are built out of a table. What is a table? A table is a collection of related data that has rows and columns. So do you have any confusion till now?
No, sir.
अच्छा इसके बाद if I want to create a database, so first of all I need to create a single table. A single table is to be known as a flat file as well, and into that table I am going to have rows that are going to be known as your records, and each record in a row is to be known as an entity. Entity means a certain specific category of your data. An entity refers to a sets of data about one thing, like a person, place, object, or event. Uh,
Yeah.
for example, the data about Mark Wenger is an example of a record identity. This image is not quite visible here, but it is referring that the data for Mark Wenger is based upon your customer ID, your customer name, your customer mobile number, and your customer address. That means that Mark Wenger itself is an entity, and into that entity, I'm having some number of records that are to be known as a rows. Now, when it comes to an entity, they have a category of information. These categories are known as either attributes or fields as well. Like one of the we have already discussed regarding this that attributes of field like Mark Wenger have all of these contact name, phone name, address, and all of that. But how I can represent it uniquely? One of the way to represent it uniquely is the usage of your primary key. What a primary key do is that it represents a unique way for each record. This means that each value can only exist once in a table, like the serial number or the value that is unique. So the software that is used to manage the database is called a database management software. That is either referred to as a relational database or not. Some of the keywords that are utilized here, like what is a flat file? A flat file is the name of a single database.
Yes.
What is a record? A record is a common word for an entity, and an entity
Yes.
can have tables, an entity can have records. What is an entity? An entity is a set of data. That means that that is not a specific data, that is a lot of data about one thing, one person or object or a table within a database. What is an attribute? An attribute is a category of information into that entity. A field is a common word for your attribute. A primary key is a unique key. A database management software is the software that is used to manage your database. Now, relationship, we are going to discuss that how two of them are connected with each other, but let me make it more clear for you. Like right in front of you, you can see that this is an example of a table. The table
Yeah.
itself, the whole of it. Whereas if I just check it vertically, you can see that these are the number of records. And A record is containing some number of fields as well, right? These are your
Yes.
fields. So as an all of it, this is a table. Like right here, you can see that this is a table named patients. Now you can see your records are containing some number of this like first name, family name, date of admissions. So you should be first clear regarding the structure of this, that what is a database, how can I create it,
Yes.
what is a flat file, what is a table, what is an entity. Yeah, just tell me that what is the difference between a record and an entity.
Rec- Uh,
Hmm.
uh,
Beta, an entity is a,
each records are basically the rows.
it's basically a
Uh,
common word for entity. They are same,
yes.
they have different words.
Yes.
A record and entity means that you have a different fields for that. An entity has a category of information, attributes of or attributes of field. Now, can you define me what is the difference between a flat file and entity?
And difference between flat and a single table is called a
Mm-hmm.
flat file, and a row in that flat file is known as entity.
Hmm. What is a primary key?
Primary key is a field that has a unique identifier for each of the records.
What is a management software?
It's the software used to manage
The database,
a
right?
database.
Just give me a minute, let the Azan finish. Discussing regarding the different data types and fields so that each field in your database is going to have a different data type, such as a text, alphanumeric, numeric value, date, time, or any of your Boolean value too. That depends on the data type that you are entering into your computer. Like for example, you can either have it as a text, you can either have it as an alphanumeric. That just simply means that what are the value that you are going to enter into your table. Like for example, if it is a name, that means this is a string. If you are adding some numbers, that means it is of integer data type. So different data types and field sites, you can assign them the different data type as well. Like for example, you can have text, you can have alphanumeric, you can have numeric, integer, decimal, or date, time, or boolean as well. These are just simple examples of a data type. Boolean means either true or false. Date or time means that whatever the date or time is it. Numeric means that either if it is a integer or decimal. Text means that all of the text you are trying to add into your data. Database management softwares basically provide you these different data types. For example, if in your syllabus you are requested to work with the help of Microsoft Access, that means that you will notice that the text is used for alphanumeric and numbers is used for numeric data. So the software will use the formatted data as of your data type, such as you have even have the option of currency as well. Currency is a decimal example which is formatted. So fields within a table, they are required to have that exact field size applied to them. This is because most fields are of a fixed length. This means that they can only have a specified amount of data that can be stored for each value. Text and alphanumeric fields will also have a length to specify the maximum number of characters that can be stored as well. For example, your product name can be limited to 40 characters. Your name could be limited to some limited characters or well, or your customer ID or anything. So you can also limit them. You can also apply your field size as well. That can be defined as what are going to be the number of fields that you want to enter into your compute into your table or into your field. Dates are also going to have a same size because they are always going to stored in the same way. Like there are different formats in Pakistan. I usually write first date, then month, then year. You might be writing first month, then date, then year. So it depends upon you. However, some text fields can have your variable length as well. Variable length means that now the length is not fixed. Neither it can vary. So they are referred to as memo or long text as well because it depends that how much long the text you want to write it. For example, I can give you the example of comment section. So comment section basically means that no matter whatever you're trying to write it, this is going to be in a long work of text. It is important to ensure that field length is not too long because this is also going to take some larger storage space because the longer the data is going to be, the larger space it is going to take. So, do you have any confusion here?
No, no, sir.
Just after that, I have three different types of relationships as well in a database. Now, this database mostly refers to as like which field is linked to which attribute, which category, or which field. So relationships within a database can be used to connect two entities together. Like if you want to connect, if you have two different entities and you want to collect them together, so we use relationships. For example, I have the example of a foreign key. Now, a foreign key is basically an attribute, a field in one entity. That helps you to connect to a primary key in another entity. A primary key is a unique key. This allows related data to be looked up and found. So foreign key, for example, a field in a table that refers to the primary key in another table. A foreign key is the one that refers to the primary key in another field, but it is not a primary key. That means that it is referring to a primary key. Like for example, if I go into another country or state, I'm a foreigner there.
Yes.
However, the activities that I will be performing are not mostly going to be like of their native country. That means that I'm trying my level best to be the national of that country, such as doing a job as well, but I am not that exact person. Similarly, when it comes to a foreign key is an attribute or field that connects one entity to a primary key in another entity. I'm also looking into account your entities as well. And what are entities? I have also discussed that as well, that your entities are a set of data about one thing, one person, one object, or one event, or that can be known to be as a whole of a table within a database. But what is going to a foreign key going to do? A foreign key is a field in one entity. That means that there is an entity and there is a field in that, and that field is helping you to connect a primary key in another table. In another table means that that is a unique key in another table, and this foreign key in another table is going to connect both of you, right? So a foreign key is a field in a table that refers to the primary key in another table. So see that sums it up that I have two tables, but a foreign key is creating a relationship between two tables. So is this clear? Do you have any confusions here?
Yes, it's clear, sir.
Now there are some number of relations that we have to discuss. And first one is the one-to-one relation. A one-to-one relation is when in your database is when one record in one table connects to one record in another table. Now, these are basically the relations. A one-to-one relationship is when one record in a table that connects to one record in another table. And you should be clear that what are records we have already discussed. That record is a common word for an entity. What is an entity? An entity is a set of data about one person, object, or thing. So what will a one-to-one relation do? It is going to it is a one-to-one relationship when each record in one table only connects to one record in another table. Each foreign key value will link to one primary key value, and primary key value will be linked to one by one to another foreign key value. Let's work out on some of the examples so that it is clear to you. I'm sending it right here that this is a one-to-one relation. This is also a one-to-one relation. Okay, so let's discuss it from here. The relationship that is right in front of you is the relation that is working with one-to-one relation. That means that here there is a country whose ID has the data type integer, uh, and name has varchar. However, it is connecting to one table, a country and capital, that is in a relation. That is a one-to-one relation. That means that all of the values from this table can be accessed to this table. The value PK Pakistan is being referred to here as well, a one-to-one relation. Like this is also an example of a one-to-one relation. You can see that there is a student table, there is a contact info table. If the student ID is 1234, student ID is 1234, last name is Tang, first name is Sufi. However, there's city and full phone number. That is an example. That is a part of different table, but yet they are still in corresponding in relation with them because that is a one-to-one relation. Now, in this relation, you can see that the customer table and all of the value from there is being also connected to your order table. Like you have that in your order table 1, you have that in your order table 2, you have that in your order table 3. All of the information is being accessed in all of these three tables as well. And this relation is to be known as one-to-many table because the information from one table is being accessed by the other three as well. This customer ID and the name has all of these types of order. This relation is to be known as one-to-many. And the last one, you can see right here, this is a many to many relationship. That means that the student also, the many students have different student courses, and that also corresponding to different courses, and that means that I have joined many tables along with each other. So are you clear with the first relation that I have, which is one to one?
Yes, sir, it's clear.
A one-to-one relationship is when each record in one table can connect to many records in another table. I'm only talking about one-to-many table, right?
Yes.
Similarly, a many-to-many relationships are only conceptual. They are not used in a relational database. Relational database, we are going to discuss about that because they can be converted into sets of different relations, but that means that many tables are being connected to many tables at once. So we have one to many, we have one to one, we have many to one, and their concept is basically same that I am connecting different tables together. However, the problem with many to many relationship is that it is not possible to store a single data item within the foreign key. For example, in the order and product example, the product ID field contains more than one product ID per order. So this can cause a problem. So again, we have different forms as well, first NF, second NF, third NF form, but let's first make it clear as well that what are relationships. Like in this worked example, you can see that the sales rep table stores details of the sales representatives within the business. This only contains basic information about their name. Their full employer details are stored in a separate table called employee. Each sales representative has only one employer record, and each employer record can only refer to one sales representative record. You can also refer to this example. This example is of one to one, like the one I showed you. Then in one to many, you can see that this is an example where you are given a category table. Now this category table is representing you different tables that are being sold. इसके पास एक primary key है, primary key है आप हमारे पास category ID. The product table is going to store about the product. The product table has a foreign key as well of category ID, and each product have one category as well. However, different categories have many products as well. So this is a one category, and one category has many products. This is quite blur right here. You can also check this from your book. And in your many to many, you can see that the order table stores data about the order that are being placed, including where the products are being sold. They have fields called product IDs, which is the product being sold on each order. So you can either check them for your understanding, or you can either check these examples as well that I have shared to you on your WhatsApp. That what is one, are these relations? So do you have any queries? I am also using a normal form as well, and a normal form means that to extend, it is basically an extent to which a database has been normalized. So, so far till now, are databases clear to you? Why do I use them? Why we use them? What is a database? What is a table? What is a structure? What is a record, entity, attribute, field, primary key? Are all of these clear to you? Hello, Sahil.
Yes, sir, they are clear.
Can you define me three different relationships?
One to one to many, and many to many. And one to one table is linked to another table, and one to many, one table is linked to many other tables, and in many to many, many tables are linked to many other tables.
What are some possible problems I can have in a many-to-many relation?
Um, one
Hmm. Beta, the problem in many-to-many relationship is that it is not possible to store single data items within the foreign key.
yes,
For example, in the order and product example, the product ID field contains more than one product ID per order, and this can cause a big problem for all of that.